Welcome back, everybody, to Hot Chips. It's yours truly, here to give you my thoughts on the playtest I was opted into for Titan Quest 2. Now, this was just kind of like a demo. I applied through Steam. I got an email back about 20 minutes later saying, hey, you got approved. So I hopped in and I played it, and I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the, I don't know, hour and 15 minutes or so, I think maybe, that I got to spend with the game. So I'll try and make this a quicker video than the last one. So the first thing I'll touch on here is the way the game felt. I was actually somewhat impressed. The way the game feels kind of matches with how it's presented visually. I thought it was done very well in that regard. It did feel a little stuttery or a micro glitchy, if you will. When like the spell animations would take place. Like I spec'd into Thunder, there were a few like ascendancies the game let you try early on, which to my surprise they actually let you spec into two of, which was awesome. I went like Thunder and like Warrior, so I was like this fucking spellcaster with a spear and a shield. It was actually very cool. It felt really good. But all in all, I mean, the game feels pretty good. The combat kind of like I didn't really feel a lot of weight to the combat when I would attack the enemies. Like that was paper thin. So that definitely needs some work. And again, this was just a play test, early access demo, what have you. But it did just feel like I was just like cutting paper with scissors when I would attack the enemies. So that definitely needs some work for sure. But other than that, man, the overall feel of the game, as far as the presentation is concerned, I think it was really good. I'd give it probably solid 8 out of 10. The graphics of the game I thought were very, very good, very polished. I don't know if it looks quite as good as a Diablo 4 open world, but the game looks damn good. Like, it looks good. Now, I will say that with some of the like the clutter, like the bushes and stuff, it kind of gave it this blurry feel or blurry look. So that was kind of but the game overall looks good. The world looks good. I like the color palette. I think it all blends very, very well. So I think they've done a fairly good job in that regard. As far as how it feels, and the graphics of the game look very, very good. Back to touch more on the combat. The combat, it was okay, I guess. Like I said, man, when I was swinging weapons and actually attacking with my weapon and not my spells, it just made the enemies feel like they were paper thin. Like I was literally just shredding paper in front of me. Kind of like playing that Ninja Fruit game on your phone, if you will. So they've got some work to do there. I know that sound can add a lot, can go a long way for making it feel like there's weight to your swings and to your hits and things of that nature. And they've probably still got a long way to go with stuff like that, I'm sure. Because at least I hope they do, because that's one of my biggest gripes about the demo, is the way it felt when I hit the monsters just wasn't very good. The skill animations, I kind of spec'd heavy into this one, like lightning strike, where like it would like hit the ground, I would cast it from wherever, and then it would take a few seconds, and then like these big lightning bolts would just come down like and there were, the skill system kind of was reminiscent of Diablo 3 with runes. You get the skill, and then you leveled into the skill, and the higher you leveled into the skill, the more slots to add these runes were made available for you to alter the effect of the skill. It reminded me a lot of Diablo 3's system, which is fine. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I mean, my only issue with a system like that is usually it's fairly shallow, right? But we haven't seen maybe how gear can come into play and change things like that. but I still had fun. I mean, it didn't, like, I didn't look at it like a negative. You know what I mean? Like the way you did the skills, I think were really cool. It reminded me a lot of Grim Dawn, which I know was also built off of the original Titan Quest engine. You know, you level up your divine points, and then the higher you go up on your bar over here, you know, you'll unlock the next tier of skills or abilities you can choose to do and spec into, and then each one of those abilities can also be spec'd into with points, and like I said, that unlocks the rune slots, and then you can also level those runes up to a certain level. So very cool. But I will say there were like 6 to 8 runes almost for each one. So it's not like Diablo, where I believe Diablo 3 you just got 5 and that was it. So there were more options, and I'm assuming more options, if that's the way they're going with their skill system. More options I'm sure will be added in the future. So you know, some people say it reminded them of support gems from PoE. To me, it reminded me of the rune system with the skills from Diablo 3. But you know, no big gripes there. I actually, for the time I was allotted to play the game, to play test the game, I had fun. Like it didn't feel shallow to me then, but I do know that once we get our hands on this and we get into it, it's going to probably feel a bit shallow, like Diablo 3 system did, where you're limited on only being able to change up your skill one of a couple of ways, right? Because most of the time there's only 2 or 3 that are going to be viable, and the rest are going to be shit anyway. So, but the skill animations, I don't know, man. I don't know if they were dropping my frames or what when I would do this lightning attack, but it would make the game, appear as if it was not running as smooth as it was when I was not casting the lightning skill. So I don't know what was going on there. I'm sure that still needs to be polished and whatnot. World build, I thought the world was pretty cool. I liked how it was all interconnected. I like how it's not procedurally generated, so they went for like this Diablo 4 Grim Dawn / original Titan Quest thing, where, like, you know, you have connecting paths, and the world is actually, it's like No Rest for the Wicked, right? They actually handcrafted the world, which I'm a big fan of. Like, I'm also a big fan of procedural generations, but I like a handcrafted world. Like, give me a handcrafted overworld, and then give me procedurally generated dungeons. To me, that's the match made in heaven. That's the marriage you want right there in an ARPG, but that's just my opinion. But the world looked good. Like, there were a couple of times I was able to come up, like, on these vistas, these big views, and it was just beautiful. Like, the presentation of the world was like second to none. I mean, they really nailed that. I think it's THQ that does the Titan Quest game. They fucking nailed the presentation of the world. And sometimes you could like run up on these, you know, cliffs or whatnot and like get a really good look at the world, and it was really cool to be able to look down off the cliff and see the walkway leading into the city or the gates, and actually being able to, you know, scale down and go there, instead of it just being like this background, or something going on in the background. So spot on there, 100% there. Big fan of that. So the world looks really good. You know, it absolutely nails the Greek mythology, like the thing it's going for. It nailed it. Everything from the like the color palette they went with, the vibrance that the game seems to have, just like naturally without even having to tune anything. It's very awe-inspiring. Like it looks fucking fantastic. Like I think they really got something special here with this world, man. And if they can get the combat to feel a little meatier, a little heavier, then I think THQ's really got something on their hands with Titan Quest 2, man, because it felt fantastic. You know, there was like this boss fight in the end or whatever. Like, as soon as you started, you talk to this quest giver, and it's letting you know there's this big huge griffin in the area, I guess, that's like haunting all the people and fucking the villages up and everything like that. So they kind of hinted you really, really early at what your ultimate goal was of that area. And so right towards the end, you do come up on the griffin fight. You know, I wish I would have known I was going into it, because I might have did a little more exploring first. It's fine. I was able to take the griffin down on my first try. It wasn't it wasn't anything that was challenging, if I'm being real. Like, it was, you know, it was just kind of very basic, 2 or 3 attacks. You know, I would drop my lightning attack, I would run around. I would drop the lightning attack, I would run around. They do have a dodge in the game. It's not like a roll. My character did like this dash kind of thing. And that felt good. Was pretty cool. That reminds me also, like, there is some scaling in the game where, like, you can climb like rocks to get up to certain places, and there were these places where you did this kind of this funny looking jump. I actually liked the jump. I thought it was pretty cool. It is kind of silly, but I thought it fit, you know, relatively well. So I actually kind of like. I know some people are saying that that needs to be worked on, but I actually didn't mind the jump. I think it's kind of cool to watch. But the grip and fight was cakewalk, and then you kind of just went down into this little cave, and it's like, hey, you know, kill these people. Oh, you got to get on this boat and get out of here, and then that's where the demo ended, or the playtest ended. Unfortunately, it it kind of sucked because I felt like I was really just starting to get going. Like, I was really starting to have fun with my time with the game, and then boom, they slam the door in your face and say, hey, thanks for play testing it, we'll see you soon. So I was really, really hoping it wouldn't have ended there, but of course it did. I mean, the to touch on the gear was. I actually thought the gear was different, but still very cool. You know, like, there were a lot of, like, plus to the main stats you had going on, like, on top of the skill points and the passive points you got for your, like, master classes or ascendancies or whatever. You also, it was like old school. You know, they had the whole strength, intelligence, vigor, concentration. They called them different things or whatever, but, like, they had all those going on, and those would do different things. You know, vigor was for life and this or that, and concentration or whatever it was called was for, like, the magic and the spells. And so you also got points like that when you leveled as well. I think I finished the demo at like a level 7 or something. So I did have some gear. There were some blues. I did get my hands on a yellow or two. I had a yellow shield, and I think like a yellow ring. There was stuff like crit hit chance and attack speed. They do have a character detail sheet with all of your stuff. There's actually like 3 of them. I thought they knocked it out of the park with that. I was very impressed with how they displayed the information. Again, reminded me a lot of Diablo 3, even a little of Diablo 4 in that regard, but I actually thought it was done better here in Titan Quest 2. So I was very happy with the details they give you on what your character has going on. I mean, it pretty much covered everything. It was really cool. You know, they do resistances in the game. It seems like just like everybody else, fire resistance, lightning resistance. You know, plus to life or plus to energy, which was mana for me, magic for me or whatever. So that was fairly decent. But then they also had stuff like slashing damage and you know, 3 points to, or 1 point to lightning damage with weapon and things of that nature. So I actually think that they've got a really solid direction with the way gear is going to work going in the game. I didn't find any uniques or legendaries or anything like that. I don't even know if there were any in the playtest version of the game, so I can't really touch on that. I'm not going to speculate on it because I've never seen one, so I have no idea what they're even going to be like. The vendors in the game I thought were fairly decent. Like, they sold white items, blue items, yellow items. Like, they actually had better stuff than what my character was finding and using. And so I was selling everything I was finding for gold, basically, and then shopping those vendors and buying stuff from them a lot of the times. Like, I got a really good ring from them. I got a really good shield from one of them. I got really good boots from one of them. So I do think that the vendors were in a good place. And that's about it. This is a short one, guys, as my playtest time with the game was very, very short, unfortunately. I will have some gameplay in the background here. If you are new to the channel, please like the video. That helps out a lot. Maybe think about subscribing. That would be really, really appreciated. And of course, let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I like to engage with the community, especially now when there's not a whole lot going on. It's very easy for me to do. So if you could, you know, if you really liked it, you know, and you thought it was informative, maybe share the video. And again, I want to thank everybody for stopping by the channel. This is Hot Chips, and you guys have been great. Stay blessed and have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.